And we're back and we're continuing our conversation with representatives of the Belize National Teachers Union. If you're just tuning in, we are joined by President Senator Elena Smith and First Vice President Luke Palacio of the BNTU, and we're discussing recent amendments presented to the union that would change certain aspects of the education rules. And we took the first segment to look at one of those amendments, which addressed emergency leave. And now we'll be talking about the second one. And this one is a matter of concern due to the changes that are being proposed. So let me set some backdrop here. As we head into this Christmas celebration, it became apparent that the decision, or what should be the Christmas holiday, wasn't as clear as we thought it would be. And there were some issues with the education rules and what that dictate and what had been the practice. So that had to be corrected. And in fact, there has been a proposed amendment put forward, and I'd like to discuss that now. So tell us what is being proposed.
Correct. So as Roberta said, Marlene, we have been accustomed to having a 3-week Christmas break.
That's right.
Based on the rules, this year we would have had a 2-week Christmas break.
Yeah.
And so the teachers then, when the calendar came out and the teachers saw that we're getting 2 weeks, teachers began to call in and raise concerns. And so we raised the matter with the ministry, and they have said, okay, we'll give you the 3 weeks as per normal.
Yeah.
So what they later were told, I believe by their in-house attorney, that the memo that they sent out to say that the Christmas break would have been changed from what is in the rules to the 3 weeks was illegal, and so they had to do an amendment to cover the memo that they had sent out.
Yeah.
So for that reason then, we knew that there was going to be an amendment to the rule for Christmas break.
Yes.
Lo and behold, when we got the amendment...
So let me just be clear though. So because Christmas fell in the middle of the week, the rules currently say if it's before Wednesday,
the vacation shall begin the Monday of the previous week. Right. And then come back the first Monday in January.
Yes.
So because of the way it fell this year, it would have been 2 weeks.
It would have been 2 weeks.
Because the holiday would have been the 20th, I believe, and not the 13th.
The Monday before Christmas, right?
Exactly, the Monday before Christmas.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So school would have closed the 20th.
Yes. So given the practice of the 3 weeks, this rule has not been adhered to. How are they proposing to fix this?
So again, Marlene, that is why we keep on saying that we want the ministry personnel in particular want to be reactionary. If we've been enjoying this arrangement, despite what the rule says, for these many years, somebody woke up one morning and decided, no way, we violate the rules, so we are changing. All they needed to do again was to say, look, from the time they sent out the school calendar in September, where they were to say to us, okay, based on rules so and so, your Christmas break will be so much weeks because of this. And I would have dealt with the matter.
Yeah.
Right? But somebody decided, we are going to please these teachers, but there's a catch. Go ahead, President.
So, and as we usually say, that oftentimes the rules that go against teachers are the ones that they find how to enforce those. Those that deal with managements, they don't enforce those. So
it's very selective.
Correct. So now teachers must be punished, right? So what they did, they looked at Rule 132, and entire 132 speaks about our entire school year and the breaks that we have. So Christmas and Easter, end of school year. What they've done now, they've decided that they will revoke all of those. So 4, 5, and 6 that deals with all of the vacation periods, they would revoke those, and they would substitute that with one general rule. And that general rule says that the Christmas, Easter, and end of year vacation period shall be determined by the Chief Education Officer. And it says here officers, we only have one. Subject to sub-rule 132.2, and the annual national school calendar prepared by the ministry shall reflect the vacation periods. Now, we want to make it very clear that the purpose for doing this is that the ministry is hell-bent on getting 180 contact days per school year.
Yes.
And they have been saying to us that, you know what, Belize is the only country, or is one of the countries that has the least number of school days. And so we have to, well, the minister has said that, listen, I will make no comments about it. I want it to increase and I will increase it. He doesn't care who says and who thinks. That is his position, and he will do so. So what we did, I had a meeting where we met with different presidents of the Caribbean Union of Teachers, the different Caribbean territories, and we looked at their school year and what it looked like. We have 38 weeks in our school year. It went from 40 to 38. Most of these islands have 39, 38 weeks similar to us. Included in those 38 or 39 weeks, they also have their public and bank holidays and the other holidays that, just as we do, your management might give you a holiday, might have a workshop here and there. So you do not meet that full 39 weeks of classes every year. Same with us, we never meet 180 days per year. Now, if we have been looking at the school year and we see where we've never met 180 days, why do we insist that we will change the entire vacation period, the entire school calendar, to ensure that we meet the 180 days? How can we meet that?
Yeah.
So one of the ways of meeting that is that the ministry now wants to look at, and they have NCE and the NCTVET councils will be looking at the school year to determine what it is that they can remove to ensure 180 contact days. And one of those things would be the days that we get to have our union meetings. And those might be cut down or removed. Management's days might be cut down or removed to ensure the 180 days.
I have two questions, right? The first one being vesting the chief education officer with this discretionary power seems to be a bit, I don't know,
Not well thought out.
Yeah, because then it would seem as if though that decision can be made at his or her women fancy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's the first one. Secondly, how often do you guys meet as a union as to why perhaps they would be looking at cutting down or doing away with those particular days?
Well, we have to understand the reason behind wanting to cut the union days. It's about, again, it keeps being about getting back at us. Getting back at us. We can take 3 meetings for the school year, which would be 3 half days for the school year. We normally take 2 with the Toledo Rural Branch because of their the areas where they come from, right?
Yeah.
They would take the entire day. So they have 2 or 3 days for the year that they have meetings, and the other branches would have half day per term. So 3 half days, which would be about 1.5 days, and then 3 days, maximum of 3 days, minimum 1 day.
Okay, so that gives me a whole different picture. So cutting down on the union days, that really equate to 1.5 day in total.
Correct.
Is the
3.
resolution on how to meet
One
the
of it.
180 days.
One of it.
one of
Correct.
them.
Now, keeping in mind though that our days that we have for our meetings are negotiated days.
Yeah.
So doing a collective bargaining agreement, you negotiate for that, and that has been given. A lot of these Caribbean islands have that as well.
Yeah.
Now you are saying to us that despite the fact that a few years ago that was a part of a negotiated package, we want to review that and we want to take that away from you.
So basically, they're rescinding. They've waited out a few years or so, and then they're walking it back.
Right. Okay. Right.
And what is most ironical is that all of these people in the senior management of the Ministry of Education were
officers.
beneficiaries of these arrangements that BNTU negotiated. So now, because they're sitting at the welcome table, then they are saying to us, well, you people, you need to take your lick. And I don't think our teachers are prepared to just sit down and take this. These things have been negotiated.
Yeah.
And then you are coming in one meeting to say we're going to change it. But if you had said we want to negotiate and we want to discuss these things, then it is different. When we look at the matter of 180 days, we are the only set of employees in this country that take home work overnight. We are the only set of employees that must travel with our students on weekends to activities legislated or approved by the Ministry of Education and our managements. We need to take our students to sports tournaments, Festival of Arts, get home 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Who is compensating us for that?
Fairs.
When it comes to school fairs, we're told you need to go to a school fair, you need to help raise funds, and every fund that you raise goes to the management, not in the pockets of the teachers.
And not guaranteed to go back to the school.
Correct.
They are not guaranteed to go back to the
Yeah.
school. And so now you are going to say to us 180 days. You need to be with your students for 180 days
Per year.
in a school year. So it means now then that your Christmas break may be cut short. The chief can decide your Easter break will be only Holy Thursday, Good Friday, Easter Monday.
Classes might begin in August.
Yeah.
Your summer break could be less. So instead of coming to school at the beginning of September, which the rules...
Was this indicated to be an interim fix?
No.
No.
Or this is permanent? Because
No.
I'm having a hard time being able to understand how it would be a logical solution to leave a personality in charge on deciding the academic school year each
Every year.
So there's no predictability that one can have in what the school year would be,
Correct.
because according to what is being proposed, the chief education officer would decide that. And I want to be clear, you know, Dr. Bab may be very well equipped to be able to do this and to be predictable in it, but when you put a position and not a, when you put a personality in charge, there's no guarantee next year who the education officer may be, or
Right.
10 years from now who the education officer may be, and whether they will make these schedules based on what is best for the students and the teachers. So putting such a personality driven decision in the education rules, I can see your concern.
It's the same as where we keep on seeing where the minister has the discretion.
Yeah.
No difference.
Yeah.
So depending on who goes there and what kind of mood you're in for this year,
Yeah.
then you can set it this way. And what has been happening is that the ministry is now, they are now banking on parents, because we have parents on these boards and committees who will be sitting down to look at these 180 days and how
Yeah.
we get them. So they are banking on those parents saying to us, well, listen, why you have to have a meeting on a school day? Why must my child lose out a day because you want to have a meeting? Why can't you meet on a Saturday or a Sunday? And that is now what parents are now bringing to the table. And so that is the angle they are taking, why we should not have these days for meetings.
Yeah, but
Which other
conversely-
days are lost over the 100? I mean, I have to be clear too. We in Belize have a lot of holidays, and people are gonna be mad just saying that, but we do have a lot of holidays in Belize, public and bank holidays in Belize. So those already cut into the schedule
Right.
of the 180 days.
As all of these other Caribbean islands as well.
Yeah, yeah. What other days would be taken away?
Well, you have the managements have up to 3 days that they can use. So, for example, if we're having a school fair, Nature's Fair,
Usually
we get the
Monday
off.
to
that-
clean up.
Right.
Yeah.
And some of those have been stopped.
Okay.
They don't do them anymore. You have things like 20,000 strong that our
You're
children go to. You have things
So
where
the children were told to go to 20,000 strong. That was a subtracted day from school.
you have where there's a election coming up and you have to go and parade through the streets, and they pull the children out to go and have the bands beating behind them to go to Mahogany Street. I mean, not all of these things. When the ministry has something, the ministry would call the children out as well. You know, they're having something, they want children to come and perform, they call them out. But they are focusing on what the union is doing and then trying to make it seem as if though, managements too. The focus is on union, not really management.
Yeah.
So
So management gets 3 days for the school
3
year.
days for the school year.
The unions get 1.5,
Up to 3.
up to 3.
Right.
But you've used traditionally 1.5.
And sometimes 1, because some branches don't normally have 1 meeting per term. You'd have maybe 2.
Yeah. And the concern is still how you will meet the 180 days.
You have your feast days that would fall under management,
Yeah,
as well.
So what's the average days that you would say a school is getting right now?
We've estimated was 170.
76, some
Okay,
of them 176, some 174. It depends.
Okay.
It depends, because depending on some areas, where you are.
Let me ask
Has
now
there
the general
ever been-
question.
Go ahead.
Let me ask the general question. What difference does it make in terms of 174, for argument's sake, versus 180 contact days in terms of the output, in terms of the
Yeah.
quality of service?
Yeah.
What difference does it make?
Very valid question. Very valid question. And that is what we've been saying to them. As a matter of fact, our experience in most of during the school year is particularly for students who have an exam at the end of a school term.
Once that is done.
Once that is done, you won't see
That's
them in
it.
school again. Once the students would have sat the PSE, that number goes down drastically. At the end of the school year, basically the same thing. So either parents would have already decided, myself and my children were going on vacation because you're only going to school to waste time. Right? Who is there to monitor that?
Yeah.
The ministry is not there.
Yeah.
But we who are in the classroom, we are aware of these things. But what can we do? Can we say to a parent, you can't take your child out of here, and then they go to somebody else higher up and they say, no man, don't take a PSE, don't sit the final exam, you could go. Right? So it doesn't make much of a difference.
But the change too will also affect parents, you know. Because parents like to plan ahead of time.
Yeah.
And so you want to plan your Christmas break, your end of year break, take your children away, that kind of thing. So it's not only going to affect us as teachers, it's going to affect our parents as well.
Senator, can I say this?
I want to make a clarification here. So the Easter break was very clearly defined.
Right.
It was the Monday before Holy Thursday and the Monday after Easter Monday. It's clearly 2 weeks.
Right.
Yep.
And that has been rescinded. That's been
Yes.
taken out.
Right.
Yes.
To go towards the
chief.
chief education officer, whoever that may be, deciding the Easter break.
The end of your vacation was also well articulated.
Right. You
It
were
ends
July.
with the Friday.
The last
Last
Friday in June.
That was also well articulated. The issue there,
Why would
again,
these that didn't have any unclear?
the issue had
date?
to do with the error they made, if they want to call it an error, in sending out an official document saying that the Christmas break will be 3 weeks. If they had dealt with what is in the 2000 rules that says when Christmas falls on a certain date, this will be your Christmas vacation period, there would have been no fight. But they are using that under the guise to increase the number of school days. That is all that this is intended to
Because
do.
they are saying that the teachers were the ones who wanted the 3 weeks, and so we gave that 3 weeks to you, but we have to ensure that you have 180 days, contact days. And contact days for them mean that the teacher must be with the students.
Now, let me ask this again now. So this has essentially been forced down your throats, in a manner of speaking. You went to this meeting December 9th and you were presented with this. What are you planning to do in terms of either challenging what is there, sitting down and negotiating for something more amenable between both parties as it regards to these issues? What is next?
Well, as I said, Isani, we wrote to them and we made our concerns. And we made it very clear that they were acting in bad faith. Because the purpose for this amendment would have been to address the Christmas break, the 3 weeks before the memo that they sent out. It wasn't for them to review everything. So they have been very disingenuous with us in terms of this rule. And so we've pointed out all of those concerns. And we are waiting now to see what would be their response. And whether we don't, as I said, we don't even know if this has been signed already. We are not sure whether it has been signed because we have not seen that final copy as was promised to us. But if it is that this has been signed into law, and this is what is going to be from now on, then this is going to create some problems. And as unions, we don't normally put out our plans, but I will tell you this, that our teachers are not happy right now. And so 2020 is going to be an interesting year.
What is your recommendation? I mean, clearly, I can hear your concerns. You know, just having a personality decide each year what the schedule for the school will be. I don't understand the logic behind it. But you put forward your concern about that. Have you made a suggestion as to what you would prefer?
No, we've not, as Luke said, we've not had the chance to really sit down because we had a 1 hour meeting. Imagine 1 hour to go through these 3 amendments and 3 crucial amendments to our teachers. So we've not had that opportunity to say to them, you know, this is how we think that it can work out. But we have been looking at the school year, and we've been looking at the fact that August teachers are on call. And so we have been saying, you know, among our leaders that, listen, there has to be some give and take at some point in time.
Yes.
So if we want about 3 weeks for Christmas,
Start earlier.
right, we might have to look at some other ways of putting back those days. We might. We're not saying that that is going to be, that has to be the final thing. But we have to have that discussion with our members and see, you know, what it is that we can agree to as members. How is it that we are going to work this out to ensure that we get the breaks that that we want to get based on rules, and that we give our students what they deserve as well. Because the ministry always puts it to the public that, oh, we don't care about the children and the children must come first and we think about it. That is not so. Come on, if teachers didn't care about children, we would not be doing all that we have been doing. Teaching is not about the pay, because you don't get paid to do what you do. So people who are talking about, oh, you get so much holiday and you get good pay where? A driver gets more than we get, and we work so hard. Yeah. I mean, all of these things, and we have to put so much money into our classrooms every year. And there's never where you see the ministry coming down on managements to say, you must provide the teachers with all of these supplies.
Yeah.
Will they now start to give us back? Because, listen, we like to copy things from other places, you know. Some of these places, these teachers spend on their classrooms, and they bring in their receipts, and they get back what they spend from the school boards. We don't do that here, but we want to ensure that, oh, Jamaica has this, and Trinidad has this, and that. Let us copy that. So we want to copy everything fully without looking at the implications of copying these things.
That's a matter of convenience too, right? What works for them and what doesn't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And as you spoke earlier, we spoke about, you know, how would that affect PAC, BJAT, all of these things. Again, we have found that whenever we had to extend the school year because of whatever, it's hurricane, well, we don't do for hurricane, but if we have to extend the school year for whatever reason, it becomes meaningless because the children don't come to school. And even those who come, they're not in school mode.
Yeah.
And so you have to be fighting to discipline them, to get them to sit and to focus. And so you don't get anything much done anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know how it is that the ministry can think that you will keep a child a week longer in school, Christmas, Easter, and they will function the way they normally would.
But has the union, I mean, clearly this is an effort that the minister and the ministry is going to be working towards. Have you started to come up with potential compromises or solutions that you would put forward as to how to meet the 180 days of contact? Keeping your 1.5-hour meetings, keeping the taking into consideration all the vacation, all the holidays that we have. What would you, I mean, have you come up with solutions? Because it's, you are also a part of the equation.
Right.
Yeah. You see, but Marlene, the thing is this, that when a union, the principle in unionism, and when you negotiate a certain benefit, you don't give that up.
Yeah.
So what they are trying to take away, it was the BNTU and the government at the time negotiated for the 38 weeks of school.
Yeah.
How is it now that a minister can come who has enjoyed these benefits over these years and say, I'm going to rescind that and I'm not going to have any negotiations with you people? We also need to bear in mind that the principle behind respect and the principle behind good industrial relations dictate that this should not happen. The many public and bank holidays that we have in our country is not given to, it's not the teachers who gave them.
Yeah.
It's there from time immemorial.
Yeah.
The matter of if the ministry and the government of Belize by extension wants to support this 108, an increase in the number of school days, our members will also have to say, well, good, what can we hold back?
It's like going back to the
What can we
negotiating
hold
table.
back? Can we decide we're not going to any more school fairs? Can we decide we're not traveling with the kids to tournaments?
No Saturday classes.
No Saturday classes, no extra classes, and then you'll hear you say the teachers
Oh,
again.
they mean.
Again, we are making the point, we are emphasizing that our teachers continue to go beyond the call of duty to do what they are doing for our children.
Yeah.
And we need that recognition. We're not asking for anything more. For instance, right now, you notice how long we have been in negotiations with government for a collective bargaining agreement. One issue is holding it back, the matter of our teachers at the grant-aided secondary schools.
Yeah.
And coincidentally again, some of the persons in the leadership in ministry, right now, if they had remained in the classroom, they would have been affected by that same rule. But it no longer affects them.
Yeah.
And we, as the union, will have to be that body or group of persons who will have to bring this to public attention and public notice. We are saying we are human beings too. Don't try and treat us as a different class or a different entity, because then our teachers, knowing who we are, knowing who BNTU is, we are becoming very restive. We are getting tired of this. It seems as if though we are the ones running behind the ministry to say, please listen to us. And there they are telling us, you just go away because we're going to do what we want to do. And at some point it will have to break.
And they cannot say that we have not been trying to work with them in terms of the partnership that they speak about.
Yeah.
Because we have been doing that.
Yeah.
But there comes a time, when you can't take anymore. And you have to do things that will then get the type of response that you need to get. And we need to get that response from them, and we're not getting it. So
let me be clear let us be clear on where we are today. You said the meeting on December 9th took place. You were told to put forward your concerns or issues with the proposed amendment. You would, or you may get a copy of the final rules before they were signed into effect. We do not know if that's taken place so far, right?
correct.
So what happens next? It's a wait and see moment?
Well, as I said, holiday just over. So we know it's first to check and see what response we've received from them, if any. And then based on that response, then we will determine what our next move will be.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for updating us. The third amendment was on contracts. We didn't get a chance to run through that, but we will, of course, continue this conversation another time. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
We're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we'll be talking about brand new wings for the new year. Stay tuned.